Greetings, my scattered brothers and sisters in the Lord. Trust you know the Lord is with you wherever you find yourself scattered today, and that you know that his presence with you is more than enough for whatever you might face today. We are with Jesus in the temple, and there have been various groups trying to discredit him so that people will quit following him, people will quit believing that he's the Messiah. And our passage today, the Sadducees are the ones who are trying to discredit Jesus. The Sadducees did not believe in the resurrection. The Sadducees only believed in the Old Testament law as authoritative. They didn't give a lot of weight to the prophets, or not nearly the same weight to the prophets as to Moses in those first 5 books. And the Sadducees were the ones who kind of ran the temple. And so now they're taking their shot at Jesus, and they're going to try to make Jesus look silly for believing in the resurrection. And so I'll pick it up at Mark chapter 12, beginning at verse 18. And Sadducees came to him who say that there is no resurrection. And they asked him a question saying, Teacher, Moses wrote for us that if a man's brother dies and leaves a wife but leaves no child, the man must take the widow and raise up offspring for his brother. There were 7 brothers. The first took a wife, and when he died, left no offspring. And the second took her and died, leaving no offspring, and the third likewise. And the 7 left no offspring. Last of all, the woman also died. In the resurrection, when they rise again, whose wife will she be? For the 7 had her as wife. And so you can see they're trying to make the whole notion of the resurrection look silly and try to make Jesus look silly, because here you have 7 brothers who had the same woman as a wife. And so whose wife will she be? Well, listen to Jesus' response. Jesus said to them, Is this not the reason you are wrong, because you know neither the scriptures nor the power of God? For when they rise from the dead, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are like angels in heaven. So resurrection life is going to be different than earthly life when it comes to marriage. That marriage is a human, earthly institution. Our marriage vows till death do us part. And then that marriage covenant is complete. And so in the resurrection, it's not going to be a problem, that this woman was married to all 7 brothers. The relationships will be transformed. They'll know each other, but the marriage vows will have been completed. And so she won't be the wife of anyone, that there won't be marriages in heaven. Let's go on. Verse 26. And as for the dead being raised, have you not read in the book of Moses, in the passage about the bush, how God spoke to him saying, I am the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac and the God of Jacob? He is not the God of the dead, but of the living. You are quite wrong, and quite wrong about the resurrection, quite wrong about the power of God. Now notice what Jesus quotes. At the burning bush, God self-identifies, gives his name, I am. I am the God of Abraham. I am the God of Isaac. I am the God of Jacob. Not I was the God of Abraham. See, if God has said, I was the God of Abraham, then it's like Abraham is done. He's gone. He is no longer. But when God says, I am the God of Abraham, that implies that Abraham isn't over yet, that Abraham is still alive, that Abraham, and that God's not done with Abraham. Same thing with Isaac, same thing with Jacob. And so God is I am, not I was. And so this implies that there is hope beyond the grave. And this implies that God's not done yet with Abraham. God's not done yet with Isaac or Jacob. I am rather than I was. And so God is not simply a God of the past. God is an I am God. And God is a God of the future, that I will be. In Revelation, we hear the language that God is from everlasting to everlasting, that the God is the one who is, who was, and who is to come. Not just God of the past, but God of present and God of future. That Abraham isn't done, because God's not done with Abraham. And so we have the hope of resurrection. Maybe think about it this way. God is not a God of simply good runs and then it's over. You know, sometimes we'll hear a team talk about a season that's over and they'll say, well, it was a good run. Or maybe we'll hear an athlete talk about a career and, well, it was a good run, but then it's over. Okay, well, God is not simply a God of good runs where we have a good run in this life and maybe on our deathbed we say something like, well, thank God I had a good run. Like it's over there. No, it's not. God is a God of resurrection so that death doesn't end the run, that God is still at work, God is still faithful, and God is going to resurrect and redeem. Maybe one other way to think about it. God does not partially save. God doesn't just save us for this lifetime. God doesn't just save our souls for heaven, but God saves us completely. So we have the hope of resurrection, that death gets nothing, that our bodies will be resurrected, transformed, made new, just as Jesus was resurrected from the grave. So wherever you find yourself scattered today, don't fall into the trap of thinking that God is simply the God of was. No, God is. And God's not simply a God who gives us a good run and then it's over. No, runs don't end with God. That God is a God of the present, God is a God of the future, God is a God who fully saves. And so our hope is not just for this life. Our hope is not just for heaven. Our hope is resurrection, and that we will be made completely new, fully new, just as Jesus was resurrected from the dead. God bless. Have a great day, and praise God. He is not simply the God who was, a God of the past, but God who is. I am, and I will be. Have a great day.